Morning, everybody. It's the 6th of October. We are Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour. I'm joined by Ian Coleman. How you doing, Ian?
I'm very well, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much.
Good.
So Trump's out of hospital.
Oh, he's fine,
Looks
isn't
like
it?
he's just got himself out of there, just signed
A
off the papers.
bit of a cold, wasn't it? That was
Yeah,
it. Said,
I
told
love
everyone,
the
nothing to worry about. Let's
yeah.
get on with it.
Don't fear coronavirus. Yet there are thousands of people in hospital, people that have lost loved ones as a result of it, and he's going out with that sort of brazen attitude. It's upsetting a
Well,
few people, but that's Trump's nature.
the,
He's
con-
very
the conspiracy
divisive.
theorists are alive, aren't they? On the back of this one,
What
They're
have you read?
really. Oh no. Well, mother-in-law, she's she's
She's
convinced
chief
that
conspiracist, is she?
she's convinced that he's not got it, never had it, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
It's all a big stunt. And then I saw a few things yesterday on Facebook, and they had him, sat at the Oval desk or whatever, and then sat at a desk in hospital. And they turned around and said he's wearing the same stuff. It's
yeah,
like it was a
pre-recorded.
pre-recorded stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I'm reading not reading, watching on Netflix the Kobe Rule
Right.
about the guy from the FBI,
Okay.
and the basically the way that they had to go after Hillary,
Yeah.
because of her email debacle before the 12 days before
Election.
the presidential election and all the rest of
Yeah.
it, and that she was found. Well, there wasn't the case against her, but there was so much information that they were getting fed to them at the same time about Trump and Russia,
Right.
and basically the connections he had was just phenomenal, and they
Yeah.
couldn't do anything about it. And then it basically goes on about the fact even when he's after he gets in, he tries to pally up Comey, and Comey says no. He said we can't do this. He said we're two different. He said I'm here to keep the peace and prosecute and all the rest of it. He said I shouldn't be talking to you. And Trump's like, I want loyal servants and blah 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 blah. And of course he got sacked in the end, didn't he? But,
Yeah, of course, didn't play by the rules. What Trump wanted him to
it's
do.
very
So
interesting. I'm reading a lot about Trump at the moment, but
yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
yeah, it's fascinating how he got where he is.
It just makes you
Basically,
angry, doesn't it?
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, we'll see what comes of that. I mean, a lot of people say that sort of main impacts of COVID don't hit till sort of 7 to 10 days. So we'll see if he has a double
Yeah,
dip,
right, okay.
and whether or not there is, well, whether or not he had it, or whether or not he still got it, and I guess we'll find out.
And we didn't hear
Um,
about the first lady, did we?
she's all fine.
Oh, but she had it, didn't she?
She had it, but she stayed at the White House, so I think she was
Oh, okay.
she
All
she
right.
was self-isolated and being treated in the White House and wasn't too bad.
A mere cold again.
She's a bit younger than him, isn't she? 20 odd years or so. So
Yeah.
not in the risk bracket, I don't think, as such. But yeah, so he's discharged himself after 3 days of treatment, all fine, and he's saying that vaccines are coming momentarily. The World Health Organization have estimated that 10% of people worldwide have now been infected with coronavirus. That leaves 90% of the world at risk. Obviously, that's makes it still a very big deal. What's happened with markets as a result of Trump yesterday? Let's have a quick look. Well, equities are on the back foot this morning. Really a bit of a carbon copy of what we saw yesterday. A bit of pushing higher, but then selling at the open. This is starting off with a CAC. We talked about an inverse head and shoulders potentially playing out there. This is where we were yesterday, this candle here. We were this time yesterday having this conversation, had a little bit of a poke above and reversed, but then it reversed back in the other direction, has broken out of this neckline of this head and shoulders, but now we're seeing another big reversal on the charts there. That's on the hourly chart. Look at the FTSE. That doesn't look too nice at all, that candle there. So that's
it's always the one that you don't jump on that goes though, isn't it?
yeah. So again, this is yesterday. This candle
That
right
held, I
here.
suppose.
Yeah, that held. It didn't make a new high, but that's a big old reversal again today. DAX, where were we yesterday? So that was the candle yesterday. It did break up from there, but hasn't got above this swing high from back on the 29th, and has posted a nasty looking candle as well. US markets, they're fairly robust still. Where was yesterday's open? I mean, they didn't look anywhere near as bad as the European markets. It was down there. So that candle there, though, looks pretty nasty on the
Yeah,
Nasdaq,
yeah.
engulfing all of the previous hours worth of price action. So more mixed price action, it would seem, for equity markets.
Could see a head and shoulders there, couldn't we?
Yeah, it looks like it could be an interesting one. Let's go down there. So we've got left shoulder, head, neckline, right shoulder. Move that down there. Potential for that.
Yeah, big sell-off.
Where would that target?
Lines up with my dollar view.
So what we target 10,825, something like that on the downside. You could be doing my gun to the head trade here, Ian. Let's have a look at that. Oh yeah.
Bugger.
Right. Do you want to take a look at some FX stuff?
Yeah, I just want to sort of, I know we keep on going back to the same old thing, but this bleeding dollar index, they keep on jumping on, and like as I just said, it's the time when you don't jump on is the time that it moves. So I just want to break down the time frames again just briefly. So this is the monthly chart. So this bullish outside month is a reversal pattern. So that offers a long-term upward bias. If we go to this time frame weekly chart, I believe that we've now completed 5 waves. Got this second decent rally up, but this previous swing low, which was from March, capped buying, and we saw this move to the downside. Now, if this is 5 waves and this is a complex reversal higher, then reverse trend line resistance is looking quite good at 96.74, and these inside waves are always very hard to predict. And if we go to this chart again, we can see 5 down, so that is 3 up, and now we've broken that swing high there. So basically that means that that's a confirmed 3 up, and we're not going to go 5 up in the first leg, and that should mean, again it all gets a bit complicated, is that the mid leg is in 3 waves, and these have become more and more hard to predict. So going to the 4-hour chart, and again some people might have got wrong-footed here, because 161.8% extension is obviously a common extension level for a 3rd wave, so you'd only expect a mild dip down, but like I said, it's broken the top of wave A, so this is now the 2nd leg. So the 2nd leg, and one of Joe's favorite fibs, is this 78.6%. So you need to be getting down and breaking this low here, this B leg. So then it's how to predict the next leg up. So you put these fibs on. So I've got the 61.8 and the 71.8 of this move higher, and then going to an extension level, and then you basically want to get some sort of marriage of these fibs. So if that's actually just gone to where I wanted it to go, which is quite weird. So basically if you go, and it's not fiddling the books, it's trying to find the projection levels. So basically 93.27 would give you confluence area at 127.2%, which is 61.8, and it'd also give you a confluence area here at 78.6, and it give you 161.8. So basically within a tick of each other. So that is potentially a very good support at 93.27. And if we're looking at short time frames on most dollar pairs this morning, I'm just breaking it down to an hour, you're getting these bullish outside candle formations. So similar to that monthly one, we've now got one on the hourly. And if we go down to euro dollar, this is obviously just this morning's trade. In fact, 8 o'clock candle. We're going to get a bearish outside. And I haven't seen all of these. Potential for a bearish outside. potential for a bullish outside. This is dollar Swiss, dollar CAD. It's already on the move. Aussie dollar had a really good move to the downside after the RBA. And if you look at 4 hours for Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, we've got evening doji style formations on both of these commodity pairs, or maybe not on that one actually. So it's looking,
What
at
about
least in
gold,
the
Ian?
sorry.
On gold, have you got a chart on gold there?
Let's have a look. Get a decent fib on there, can't you?
Yeah,
Probably.
like
Let's have a look. I mean, that's the 1 hour chart, so we're starting to come off the top. Is that a previous swing low? No.
So it would support the short-term dollar strength as well.
Yeah. Chopping it.
Yeah, very.
I mean, that looks like an expanding wedge. So that does have a bias to break to the downside. So, but it's with expanded, they're not like normal wedge formations. Obviously, a normal wedge formation goes like this, an ascending wedge, and they're much easier to trade because obviously your stop's outside the wedge. So if you're winding up and you get short here, your stop's above here. These expanding wedge formation, it's like, where do you get short? Because your stop is potentially above the trend line, but I think your stop on here would be above 261.8%, and your target levels are never as good. So an expanding wedge formation, the confirmation is here at 188 in gold, but the target level's only there at 180, so it's not as good. Whereas here, if you get a breakout of a wedge, the target level is here and your stops there. So your normal wedge formation or your ascending or descending wedge formations are much better for a risk reward basis than an expanding wedge, even though they do the same thing.
Yeah, just very choppy though, aren't they? The old
Yeah.
expanding wedges, and it's very
Yeah.
difficult in my experience to get much
But
out of them.
so going back to it, I do fancy, especially if stock indices are coming lower, that next leg up in the dollar index. And by the way, it's not, or I don't expect it to make a new high. So again, A, B, C coming down in A, B, C. So it's only temporary, I think, at the moment. Might not be.
Cool. Thanks very much. The other thing maybe worthwhile pointing out was oil yesterday. That had a fairly decent rally from the lows at around about 36.70. Let's just share my chart. Hourly chart. I just noticed that it's come into a 61.8% level of this swing high from back on the 18th of September. Possibly a point where you might see a little bit of profit taking, or certainly a bit of a pause in the bullish momentum that we've seen from the lows here. Possible outside candle forming as well over the last hour, so that could be a cue for some profit taking. Obviously, the overall trend is questionable. We touched upon this last week. Is there some sort of top formation taking shape here on the daily chart, which would confirm on a break below 36.42? Overall, I still think more sort of sideways choppy price action within this kind of period range in here. I think that pretty much covers most of the charts that we've been looking at. Unless there's anything else you can think of that stood out.
No, not really.
As you said, the RBA left monetary policy unchanged, but they remained highly accommodative, so they'll be looking to do something if they feel it's necessary to do so. Obviously, more chat going on about fiscal stimulus in the US. I guess we'll get some more on that at some stage, maybe this week, maybe next. Data out today, we've got UK construction PMI, which is expected to rise to 50 from 48. That's due out in half an hour in the UK. And then we've got the US trade balance at 1:30 p.m. Deficit is expected to rise slightly to 64.4 billion. So keep an eye on the US dollar crosses around about 1:30. Gun to the head yesterday. This is where we pick live trade in the market and see how it plays out by 9 o'clock in the evening. I've highlighted NASDAQ here because somebody pointed out on our video yesterday that Steve was actually stopped out on that trade.
Oh, no.
on Friday. So where I did have it down as a win, it was actually a stop out. So obviously we want to be as transparent as possible with
Okay.
these things. So apologies for if I misled anybody on that one. That was stopped out and has obviously impacted the P&L a little bit. As you can see there, a little bit of a down leg. But overall, we are going in the right direction, and obviously you can't win them all. Yesterday, we had a trade on Sterling Oz, which made 0.59R, and we had to buy the dollar index, which was stopped out. So we lost around about 0.4R yesterday. But Ian's going to get us back on the horse today with a whopper, I reckon. What have you got?
Well, it's dollar index, isn't it? After all that, I've got to keep at it. And I want my stop just below that swing low that I talked about. So getting long at 93.48, targeting 94.18. We'll stop at 93.23. Nice outside candle on the 1 hour chart. I'm just hoping it doesn't spoof me like yesterday.
Okay, good luck. I'm going to go with NASDAQ, as I alluded to earlier. I was sort of charting that on the fly, and it looked quite interesting to me. So this was the hourly chart. Ian pointed out there could be a potential head and shoulders forming there. I like that. It is only a potential one. It isn't a confirmed head and shoulders until it breaks the neckline down here. I always like to go by a break of the swing low of the neckline rather than the sloping trend line. So I'm going to suggest that breaks if it moves below 11,220. I'm going to jump in on that now. Selling 11,430, and we're going to target a completion of this head and shoulders and a move down to the measured move target, which is at 10,825. So we're going for a big, whopper of a trade today. Nearly
We could do with
7R
that.
on that one.
We could do with that one.
Stop loss above that high of what I'm thinking could be the high of the right shoulder. All potential at this stage, obviously highly speculative, but that is my trade of the day today. Let's see how it goes.
Lovely. Good luck.
Anything else, Ian? I think we've covered a fair amount.
We've talked about the calendar, haven't we? We've talked
Yep.
about RBA overnight. Powell's speaking this afternoon.
Okay.
3:40 UK time, and ECB's Lagarde is speaking at 2 o'clock. Don't know what about markets,
well,
I suppose.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the headlines on Live Squawk.
But apart from that, and she's speaking again tomorrow, Lagarde. So I don't know if she's doing a bit of
doing the rounds,
doing around. And of course, we've got FOMC tomorrow, which we shouldn't forget about.
The big event.
So yeah.
Lovely.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Right, have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Ian, and we'll catch you all tomorrow.
Cheers, Joe.
Cheers, then. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Bye.